Hello, dear viewers. I have had a wonderful night's rest, and so we're going to go back to Try Once More here. Um, what were we up to with this guy? We have spellcasting, poison. Oh, that's right. We got spider form, didn't we? Oh, that's neat. It's down to 61% failure at only level 1 of poison magic. That's good. Um, I imagine if we get poison magic up to level 4 or 5, it will probably become reliably castable with Ashen bonuses. Uh, Reliability is key in this game. I've probably mentioned it before. Oh, we're not wearing our Ring of Wizardry either, are we? Yeah, we were wearing Sustenance. Yeah, it's... Oh, 30%. Wow, that's great. Um, yeah, so I was thinking about it. I've mentioned consistency, reliability a few times in the makings of these videos, and really what that consists of is like making sure that you're removing as many variables from the dungeon as possible. Uh, every time you run into combat and you start hitting things, you may win, no problem, just because you got lucky and you dodged all their attacks and you hit all of yours, and you don't actually get a good sense of how dangerous a monster is. So a lot of the time, I'll walk into a fight and I'll say, "Hey, this is a really dangerous situation," and then I'll just crush the opposition. Uh, and sometimes I'll even waste consumables. That's really what you're supposed to do. I mean, in theory, if when you play this game for long enough, you can get to the point where you just intrinsically know how strong everything is all the time, and um, you never have to use a consumable because you're always prepared. That's I'm sure possible, but this game is so complex and it changes frequently enough, and the things you find are different enough that you can't really ever be completely sure that you're going to come out on top of a fight. Barring, if we ran into 5 orcs at this point, some popcorn, we're not going to be worried, obviously. But I mean, the idea is just to make sure you're never having to flip a coin for your survival. Getting down to where you and they both have 5 hit points left. In that situation, yeah, you might win, but you're equally likely to die. Anyway, where are we going next? I think I want to get into the uh, orcish mines a little bit. Yeah, we found those last night. Yeah, we got down to dungeon 12 last night, I believe. Last video. Let's go to orcish mines. I know we're near starving. We may make it to the orcish mines before we have to eat permafood. That'd be great. We can, for example, beat up this wolf spider. Wolf spiders are really strong. They're tough enemies. By the way, if you auto travel somewhere and then press Shift G and then just enter, you'll continue along your previous auto travel route. Orc warrior with the halberd. Not really worried. And see here, yeah, we ran into some monsters before we reached critical hunger levels. Oh, poor guy had a cursed halberd. That's sad for him. Okay, we're just gonna walk manually the next little bit. Another crawler recommended this, and I second it. Always pause before you go down a set of stairs. Just take stock of what you have. Maybe, like, for example, if I hadn't paused, I would not have taken off my Ring of Sustenance and put on this Ring of Strength, Dex, and Wizardry. Which, probably wouldn't have mattered. One turn, not usually fatal, but it's nice. Now we can cast our stuff. Fireball is going to be really nice in these mines, I think, just for clearing up great swaths of enemies. Whoo! This is the other reason why you prepare, because you might bump into Prince Ribbit and an ogre on the first level of the Orcish mines. What kind of shop? Antiques. Interesting. Antique shops, just the items in them are not identified unless you already know what they are, but everything's cheaper. So it's sort of a gamble. Prince Ribbit, yeah, I think we'll be okay against him at this point. If you encounter Prince Ribbit fairly early on, he's quite a tough opponent. He's a unique blink frog, essentially. He's a little bit different, like as far as the I mean, certainly his AI is different, but also his modus operandi is different. He uses teleport self instead of as a spell instead of an intrinsic blink ability. So, I mean, that's relevant because you can, in theory, like silence him, uh, like read a scroll of silence and just melee him down if you need to. I think we're okay, and we can stare dance these guys if we need to. Um, I, if you've cleared layer 8, you're almost definitely going to be fine in, at the very least, Orc 1 through 3. Orc 4 can be really, really tough. There are a lot of high priests that smite you from a distance. They're significantly more powerful than regular priests by, I mean, 2 or 3 orders of magnitude. Like they are dangerous to us now, whereas a regular priest, we can just sort of stumble into like this. I mean, we got smited there for 13 damage. He'd have to do it, what, 5 more times before we managed to kill him. We're not really weird. I mean, if we see like a pack of 5 priests and a bunch of meat shields in front of them, that actually is a concern for us. I mean, like I said right there, he'd have to smite us 5 more times. Well, if there are 5 of them, they can each smite you once for that same effect. You can still die to low-level stuff at this point. Okay, in this shop, we have a legendary deck of cards, which is interesting. That's the highest power level of the decks. It's plain, ornate, and legendary, which could be really interesting. That's something to keep in mind right there. That's something to keep in mind for the late game. If we're running low on evocables, like if we've used up all of our relevant wands, and we're out of scrolls of recharging, and we have used up our boxes of beasts and discs of storms, that sort of thing, then we could consider picking up that deck of cards. Without worshipping Nemlex Zobe, it's a little unreliable. You can draw some really painful stuff. There's one card called the Shuffle, which randomizes your strength, int, and dex, reassigns all the values. So you can be, a full strength warrior with 0 spells, and suddenly your strength is 8 and your int is 30 instead of the other way around. And then your run is over. I mean, in theory, you can come back from that, but it's unlikely, especially if you are worshipping Trog, the Berserker god, which has you burn spellbooks as you come across them for piety. Yeah, you'd be in a world of hurt. Okay, we're going to take stock again because the Orcish mines, as I have mentioned previously in our last visit here, are little pods. Like you can see with it's actually easier to demonstrate with Ashinzari because we have this passive magic mapping. But like here's another pod of the level, and here's another pod that could be accessed by different staircases. Each floor still has 3 up and 3 down staircases. They're just not necessarily into the same room. So be careful to always, if you're running away from things, go up a staircase you've explored. It's not like the dungeon where you can clear a level and even an unexplored staircase will more or less mean that you're safe. Here, this is definitely not the case. Don't run up into a pack of things. Also, monsters will roam around in the mines, so a pod that you have previously cleared can contain, a whole pack of orcs when you return. So, again, most of the enemies here, looks like we're gonna have to go down to 3 to get back up to 2. That's fine. We're strong. And honestly, there's not a ton of difference between Orcs 1, 2, and 3. I guess 3 is a little bit tougher. But I mean, with some recent changes, I think, over the past few patches, and I mean, just randomly in general, you can have a really tough Orc 1. Like, you can see a High Priest on Orc 1. Food shop. Food shops are one of the less useful shops. Unless you're a Spriggan and can only consume permafood, and then it's really nice to find one. It's basically the same thing as having food in our stash, except that we have to walk farther and we have to pay for it. But, in a pinch, if we get into dire straits, we can remember that it's there. You can always just Control F for shop, and it'll bring up all of the shops you found. I think there's a way to examine their contents as well. Let's see. Shop. Oh yeah, if you toggle, if you press exclamation point shift 1, then you can click on each of these stores and see what they contain. One thing I didn't mention about this antique shop is that we can buy those unidentified scrolls, and they will become identified once we found them. Okay, yeah, good to know. It's nice to remember what's going on with the rest of the game. Because remember, we can leave at any time. We are not by any means obligated to clear any of these levels. I like to clear levels once I've entered them if I can, just so I don't end up in one of those situations where I forget that I haven't cleared a level and just blunder right into it at low health. Oh, Snorg. I'm not too worried about Snorg. Snorg is a particularly corpulent troll with a short temper and a sizable gut. Uninterested in the orb, Snorg delights in the endless parade of adventurers. That is, easy meals it attracts. He's just a troll. He's a stronger than normal troll. He can actually hurt us, but I think we can hurt him more. Yeah. I generally like these fights where I say that we can be injured, like we're at some risk. Generally, the reason why I entered them is because I'm fairly confident that I can 1 or 2 shot the monster. Like, we only need to actually hit him 1 or 2 times, like at most 3, to polish him off. The reason why that's relevant is if we can be sure that we can dish out a proportionally larger amount of damage than we can take. Like I'm not concerned that he could 1 or 2 shot us. We have more turns fighting him than he does us, and we have enough escape buttons to get out of there if we have to. Even though that could have been a more difficult fight than it was, I wasn't anticipating it. Yeah, like here in our inventory, porridge obviously just feeds you, but we have brilliance if we need to cast. Our spider form is pretty reliable. That's good. With spider form, I definitely want it to be a single-digit difficulty, as low as possible, because for 2 reasons. First of all, that will also mean that the spell power goes up and we'll be a spider for longer, and maybe have stronger venom. I don't know what spell power translates to with this spell exactly, but we'll definitely, the duration will extend. We'll be a spider for longer, but also because I'm generally going to be casting this when I want to run away from something, since our armor all melds into our body, as does our weapon. It's not removed or discarded or destroyed, it just vanishes for the time that you're transformed. I'm going to mostly be casting that when I need to run away from stuff, and that's not the time to have a spell miscast. Still happens. Many a caster has met an unfortunate end because their 3% miscast chance happened to come up while fighting a baddie. Also, you have to kind of think in terms of large numbers in this game. Yeah, you might have a 1% failure chance on your main offensive spell, like, fireball or whatever. But think about how many times you're going to be casting that spell throughout the course of the game. It could easily be 100, and that's one. I mean, it's not necessarily how math works, but that you can sort of shorthand it to be one guaranteed miscast somewhere in there. So if you're ever in a situation where you absolutely need your next spell to succeed, the only way to ensure that is to have a 0% miscast rate. Eustachio, the mustached summoner. Huh. He has a cutlass of venom and a leather armor of poison resistance. Yeah, Ashnzari, when you get to a certain level of piety, will warn you what your enemies are wielding, which is awesome, especially if you happen to be a demon spawn or a mummy, a race that is particularly vulnerable to certain weapon brands. We're not really worried about Eustachio. Yeah, we bashed him up. The priest did manage to deal a decent amount of damage to us with his smiting. Um, I'm going to go ahead and pick up this Cutlass of Venom. We're obviously not going to use it. We are not a short blades wielder. Cutlass of Venom, by the way, is an awesome weapon for a short blade wielder early on. Like if you're playing a deep elf or a high elf caster, finding a Cutlass with a brand is quite nice early in the game. Like when you still have a reasonable chance of just running out of mana from missing your spells too often. When you're in those stages where you can't plan for every contingency, you can't guarantee that your own choices will make you succeed. The dungeon can still just sort of jib you. For casters, that period lasts much longer than for melee or like ranged weapon characters. See, we travel back up to Orc Mines 1. This is that top pod, and as you can see, there are a ton of monsters in here. Like this section over here is more or less clear, although some monsters may have wandered up. But this pod is untouched. So, you know, let's cast a fireball. Maybe. Let's see how far. Yeah, we can hit the priest with this fireball. This is one of the reasons why it's nice to have spells. You don't have to. My first ascension, I had I think 0 spells memorized, or maybe a couple, and I never used them. I just relied on invocations and evocations the whole time. But here, like, this is super useful. We'll probably kill this orc priest with this fireball, and that saves us potentially our entire life bar if it took us too long and he got smite happy. Well, we didn't kill him, which is too bad. But, you know, we made him unhappy. Yeah, see, the reason why why that highlighted area, the fireball's radius of effect, won't move past those is because those are blocking my line of sight. Like, it would run into one of them and blow them up before it reached the targeted tile. Can we get him now? Yeah. Cool. Totally worth it. And by worth it, I mean worth the turns and the hunger cost. It's really hard to go hungry in the Orc Mines unless you're a Spriggan and cannot eat butchered corpses, because there are dudes everywhere, and they leave corpses very frequently. Different monsters have a different percentage chance of leaving a corpse behind. I don't actually know if it depends on the method of slaying it, although that's entirely possible. I know that disintegrating things often leave chunks when they explode, or if something has been affected by a scroll of immolation. We're going to kind of charge in here, fight this priest. Again, this is Orc 2 that we've traveled back up to from Orc 3. We're not worried. Even a little bit. Like, if we see an Orc Knight like that, then we'll take a minute and reassess things. Orc Knights are similar to Orc Warriors, just more so. They're like, this one actually looks dangerous to us. It's a higher level or higher hit dice. Okay, so one of these guys, this warrior, is wielding a hand axe of electrocution. That's not as relevant to us because we're resistant to electricity, but other classes or other species or characters without electric resistance should be very concerned. Electrocution is a very powerful brand because it's not based on the damage of the weapon. Unlike flaming or freezing, it is a set, quite high amount of electricity damage that it deals, that has a chance to deal on hit. So if you have a low base attack delay, low mid attack delay weapon like a hand axe, then the electrocution chance has a lot of chances to trigger because they're hitting you more times. Electrocution on something like a giant spiked club is less useful. Okay, we're gonna kinda play this by ear. The Orc Warriors aren't really a problem. The Orcish Knight is tough, though. We may have a difficult time with him. Let me just sort of take stock here. All right, here's what we're going to do. We are going to back up to that down staircase, I guess it was. We came up. Shift X. The bracket keys, not parentheses, but brackets, the one that are they're next to the letter P on your American keyboard. Go up and down in levels. There's also a way, I believe, to check which staircase leads to which, but I don't remember it. I'm not going to take your time looking it up at the moment. Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure it goes to this staircase here. Which is good because, as you can see, there are only 4 total spots that we can be surrounded by. Like, more monsters can come up, as many monsters as are adjacent to you on your tile when you go up the stairs or down the stairs can move up with you, but obviously 2 monsters cannot occupy the same spot, so they will spill over into the outer spots. This is why if you can find an up staircase that leads into like the end of a hallway, it can be really good for times when you're overwhelmed. Like, it's never awesome to be trapped at the end of a hallway, but it's, I don't know, it can be better than just being surrounded by 8 dudes. Yeah, that's why Orc Knights are dangerous, aside from just being tough themselves, is they can inspire a battle frenzy in other orcs that actually makes them tough. Like, I think it increases their speed, maybe, and possibly their damage. It's sort of like a mini berserk, I want to say. And so all of a sudden, your popcorn turns into a legitimate threat. I wish I could pull him down. I don't think I'll be able to. Yeah, I'm just going to pull this other orc down and kill him. The downside to this is that that's the only staircase up into that level, unless we want to take this escape hatch up and gamble on, first of all, it leading to the upstairs, and second, not dropping us in the bunch of middle of enemies. I think we're strong enough that I can pop up and take the hits and pop back down with whatever is adjacent to us, and we'll be okay. Yeah, I can't think of anything else that I would want to do. If I feel worried, I can read the Scroll of Fear. Most of the things should be affected by it, although the knight may resist. We could go invisible before we pop up the stairs. But I kind of want to save that for later, since we only have the one, I think. Yeah. We don't have one in our stash, is what I was wondering. Like, this is one of those times where I'm kind of talking myself into making a bad decision. Like, it really is just not a good idea to go up those stairs. Like, I could keep exploring the rest of the Orcish mines. Like, I could explore the rest of levels. Oh, no, we're on level 3. And we can't really get back. Yeah, I could read a Scroll of Teleportation or use the wand. No, I think I am going to pop up. I don't think we can die in one round of hits from the monsters that we saw up there. Like, even if they were in a perfect circle around the staircase, and they all got a successful hit on us, I don't believe that could even kill us. And then we would have options. So we're going to go up. Yeah, they were not all standing right next to us. Just the knight and... Oh, well, there were 2 orcs, but this warrior missed us with a tomahawk and killed his buddy. That's embarrassing for him. We are... I'm not worried about this warrior throwing tomahawks at us, really. I was wondering if it was worth the free hit I'd take pulling these guys down the stairs. But I don't think it is. Yeah. Yeah, he's wearing pretty strong armor. What was it, chainmail? Oh, yeah, he's wearing plate armor. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, alright, we're fine. We're fine. Oh, it's a +2 plate armor. Jeez. That was a decked out knight. Ah, his halberd was super cursed, though. Or cursed and with a poor slaying bonus. Slaying being the accuracy and damage bonuses shorthanded into one. Like if something has +3 slaying, it means it gets a bonus to 3, a bonus of 3 to its accuracy and its damage. See, we're unstealthy, but like that priest didn't wake up when we first gained line of sight of him, and that's really all we want from stealth. That's really all we need. We're not trying to sneak up on stuff into melee range like a stabber would be, because that would be very difficult. Oh, Maurice. Maurice is not fun. He steals your stuff, and you can't get it back. And he can go invisible, and he can blink, and he can teleport himself. He can do all kinds of stuff. He can make himself really fast. He basically is ideally set up for taking one of your things and then immediately vanishing from your area of influence, and then you just don't have your thing anymore. But I kind of want to kill him, because he's also a decent amount of experience. Yeah. If it looks dangerous, it's going to give you a chunk of experience. So let's try some fireballs. Fireballs are loud. Very loud, in fact. Not as loud as extremely loud, like lightning bolts. But this is still going to alert everything sort of in this area, even if it isn't in line of sight. So if there are monsters in, like, up here that couldn't see the fireball go off, they could probably still hear it. Although there's rock walls in the way. Sound is very complicated in Crawl. It's not so complicated that you can't understand it fully. I'm sure if I took a few minutes, I could figure out exactly how noisy at all times. But generally speaking, if you're wearing anything heavier than ring mail, things are going to hear you walking up to them. Things that are very loud, like sort of have a line of sight level. Let's try and hit him. Let's try and kill him before he goes invisible. Sweet. Cool. And I don't think he got anything from us. Yeah, okay. Oh, we do have See and Biz. How do we have See and Biz? Oh, no, that's not it. I thought it was this. How on earth? Ah, interesting. See, now that we have spider form memorized, it shows us the traits that can be removed by changing your shape. These things we will continue to possess, I guess. Although flying continuously while transmuted seems unlikely. I don't know why that isn't. Anyway, yeah, so maybe these are just the ones that are suppressed by spider form. I don't know. Anyway, we have to be aware of that. How are we seeing invisible? I mean, I'm not complaining, but the reason why I can tell is because there's a little pip next to the See and Biz. Oh, Ashanzari. Ashanzari is giving us See and Biz. Oh, that's cool. I don't know if that's new to Ashanzari, or I just haven't played as a worshiper of her in a while. But that is just awesome. Wow, we have so many, like, we just have so many innate resistances now. Or benefits. We have See and Viz, we have resist rotting, resist electric, resist poison, and resist negative energy, all of which will not go away, ever, so long as we worship Ashanzari. And then we just lose the See and Viz. Like, this is insane. Gargoyles are just awesome. It means we can use basically whatever equipment we want. Like, we even have a cold vulnerability, and we don't care. Because we have a free slot that we're just using for a handful of spells. And a little bit of a stat bonus. We're just so strong. That's cool. Yeah, you can see Ashanzari doesn't boost spellcasting. That's one thing she doesn't do. What's this at? 12? We'll probably get poison magic up to a boosted 5. I can't see us ceasing worship of Ashinsari anytime soon. I mean, only if we decide to go for more than a 3 rune run would I seriously consider abandoning her for another god. Um, the only other time that I would abandon her is with great reluctance, if we just run out of steam by the Realm of Zot, and we're too weak to go anywhere else, to go anywhere new, but we're not strong enough to take on the Guardians. That would be a time that I would consider switching to a different god, though I'm not sure which one I would even choose at that point. Maybe the Shining One or Zin. Those are very good late game gods, both of them. There used to be backgrounds that would let you worship, I think, both of them at one point or another. Like paladins worship the Shining One, and priests had an option to worship Zin. But I believe they've removed... Well, they've certainly removed the paladin background, if that was ever a thing. I might be making that up. But I think they've removed priests as a background. Maybe they were too strong, or they felt that the god options were too complicated. Like, most of the gods that you can worship as a background, as a starting background, are fairly straightforward. I think Death Knights would be what I would consider the most complicated of starting background gods. We're missing a staircase. Oh, wait, no, we're not. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And this is level 1. All right, I think I thought we were on level 2. I think that's why I was confused. All right. I just want to make sure I don't leave anything unexplored. Velocity, that brand on that crossbow, is similar to crushing or piercing or slashing, I think. They're shorthanded as Vorpal brands that just give a chance to have a flat increase of physical damage. Or not a flat increase, but an increase in the physical damage of the weapon, I think between 1 and 30% of the weapon's base damage. So it's not as powerful as freezing or flaming, and on lighter weapons, on more dex-based weapons, it's not as powerful as electrocution, because the base damage of those weapons is low. The electrocution brand, is going to be higher than your max crushing. So it's less powerful than those, but it's not resisted by anything. Physical damage is only mitigated by armor class in this game. So it's more consistent. And consistency is often good. It's always a trade-off between consistency and power in this game. Yeah, this is Orc 4. I didn't need to come down here. I was just a little curious to see what we find, and we found quite a bit of stuff. We have multiple staircases down, so I feel no compunction about... Yeah. Yeah, we have several staircases down, so I don't feel bad about popping back up and having those guys maybe surround that staircase. I don't want to take on that many ogres and an ogre mage. Ogre magi can haste things. I think maybe at this point... I'll go to the snake pit. Show you guys a branch. I mean, this is technically a branch, but a rune branch. The bottom of the snake pit is the serpentine rune of Zot. You need 3 runes to get into the realm of Zot, the last 5 levels of the dungeon, which contain the goal of the game, the Orb of Zot. You need 1 rune now to get into the vaults, which is it's harder than like the snake pit or the like the first 4 levels of the vaults are about the same difficulty as the final levels of like snake pit and shoals. Maybe a little easier. The 5th level of the vaults is nightmarish. It's incredibly hard. That's I think currently my wall that I've hit. I've had a few characters recently die on level 5 vaults. And I think I know why in each case. In one case, it was because I did not respect an Ancient Lich, and I died in spite of the fact that I was incredibly strong and I had just massacred most of the enemies on that level already. Uh, and I just didn't respect the Lich at all, and he killed me. I'm going to try one more staircase down into Orc 4, just so we can get a little bit of a sense. Looks like a shop over there. Interesting. This is a kind of unique little setup. We're gonna fireball this priest, and that's also going to steam up this water. Actually, we're gonna fireball here. That's gonna cause a bunch of steam from this water. That's gonna damage these guys more. Oh, did we miscast? We did miscast. That's a shame. Let's try again. Same spot.
Avast virus database has been updated.
We miscast again. We're wearing our wizardry. See, it's got a 6% chance of failure, and we've miscast it twice in a row. Like, this is, you know, not insignificant. Okay, so we killed the North Priest. We're near starving, but that's okay. Another thing that Steam did was block line of sight to that electric eel, which prevented it from shooting us for a couple of turns. I'm not sure if I actually considered that in my decision to cast that spell. Maybe I would like to say that it's just, you know, my crawl instincts kicking in there. Probably it's just, you know, something that I noticed after the fact and was like, oh, that's cool, I'll tell these guys about it. I'll claim that it was my idea. Yeah. But it's true. When you create steam, when you shoot any sort of fire projectile over water, it has a chance to create steam on each tile. And some things are like guaranteed to create steam, such as fireball. Ooh, oh, oh, huh. Well, this is why I don't like Ogre Magi. Well, Sir TryOnceMore may be gone. We have been cast into the abyss. Ooh, oh, wait. No, we're fine. We worship Ashen'Zari. And so we can sense portals. Oh, no, that's a portal deeper into the abyss. Shucks. Alright, so I'm going to pause here. Since this very well may be the end of our game, I want to talk about it a little bit. It's also the first time we've encountered this in one of my videos. This is the abyss. It's actually where you start as an abyssal knight, which confuses many people. The abyss is a very strange place. First of all, you forget the map as you go. You can't ever remember where you've been in the abyss. And it's really huge. It sort of wraps around on itself. It's sort of like a Mobius strip, sorta. I think there are vaguely corners to areas, like if you twist around enough. But I think if you walk in one direction, you will never like stop. So it's a weird place. Anyway, there are tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of demons and undead here, of varying degrees of power. You can wander for a while and only encounter like 1- and 2-star demons that you can take out pretty easily, with the smattering of 3 stars. But you can find executioners or Balrogs on level 1 Abyss. I believe it's still possible. That may have changed in the past few patches. Maybe not. But one of the reasons why the Abyss is very interesting is because it's so large. You can find a ton of items down here: equipment, gold, ammunition, just tons of stuff. There's also a rune somewhere in the Abyss, hidden away. That's what this gate deeper into the Abyss means. We'd have to find a few of those, I think, before we get on the level that contains the rune. I may in between videos, assuming we survive this jaunt into the Abyss, and I'm going to start looking around for other gateways that we might have sensed. Assuming that we survive, of which I have some hope, especially since Ashanzari is going to make it much easier for us to find gates out of here than it normally would be, because line of sight is just awful in the Abyss. It's abysmal. The other danger of the Abyss is getting greedy. Yeah. Oh, man. We got greedy. I always get greedy in the Abyss. I just want that one more scroll. I really wanted that scroll of recharging, and it might have killed us. Fortunately, it can't see... it hasn't noticed us yet. We can't go invisible because it can see invisible, but... Oh, man, that's a level 5 demon. I've never fought a Hell Sentinel before, I don't think. Or if I have, it's been quite some time. It might have been on my first character that I successfully reached the room that contained the Orb of Zot and then stepped onto an axe trap and died. Because I didn't rest. It was hubris. Okay, so we're going to try and run away from this guy. Whew. I think successfully. Okay, well, we'll try this direction. Alright, that's another monster, but it's not... Ooh, here's some tougher ones. Wow, Ashanzari is great in the Abyss. Okay, we'll kill this flying skull. It's really dangerous to actually fight the things that are chasing you. No, that's still deeper into the Abyss. Oh, okay, that's just a level 2 demon. It can be really dangerous to stand and fight things in the Abyss because monsters roam around so much, and there are so many of them. And they're so dangerous that, Is that... I think that's a gateway out. I think we might be out of the woods. If we can get there. Well, Rakshasa. Rakshasas are really dangerous. They make that phantom mirror makes copies of themselves that I think can still even do damage to you. Or maybe they can't do damage, but it's very difficult to tell which one is doing damage to you. And you have to kind of kill all of them or hope that you get the original. Whew. Alright. This is one of those moments where I'm just going to say, like, I'm not even going to be greedy enough to get that pair. It's almost a free pair, but I'm just going to leave the Abyss. Wow. The other fun thing about leaving the Abyss is it takes you back right where you were. So you're often stuck with the same monster that sent you there in the first place. We are immediately going to run up these stairs. This deep troll does not bother us too much, although you see it did quite a bit of damage to us. They're tough. But I don't want to go back to the Abyss. We survived it once. I'm not going to gamble twice. Later on, it's perfectly reasonable for us to go searching for stuff in the Abyss. We might even go for the Abyssal Rune if we get strong enough. That's entirely possible. We're just not there yet. I would want more spells. I would want a lot more health, really. I would want higher armor class. I would want more of everything. Okay, well, that was fun. That's enough for Orc 4 for now. Let's put on our Ring of Sustenance and go back to our lair, our stash. I like thinking of it as our lair now that we've cleared it out. Okie dokie. We really didn't pick anything up in there aside from a bunch of gold. You can see we gained 700 gold off the first 3 layers alone. Bottom layer has even more gold, and it has some shops, which are nice. Let's see what we can memorize. What's our failure rate at these things? Pretty bad for all of them, aren't they? Oh, well, we're not wearing our wizardry again. Let's put that on. Still pretty bad. I guess, oh yeah, that's what I was thinking about last night. I mused at length as I was half asleep about Olgreb's Toxic Radiance or Alistair's Intoxication. And just a brief recap, I think I told people they could just turn off the video at that point because I was going to ramble on and on, and I can recap it much more easily now that I'm awake. Olgreb's Toxic Radiance surrounds you with a large aura of poisoning. It will poison you too, even if you're resistant, but we're not just resistant, we're immune. So this spell is great for us. It just anything that's alive has a constant chance to be poisoned. That's really cool. The other one that I think I might have decided to go with, should we be able to get it trained up, or I might do both. This one is a Mass Confuse that's poison based. Um, so poison resistant creatures are actually immune to its effects. It's not um, Olgreb's Intoxication can poison resistant creatures. Alistair's or Olgreb's Radiation, whatever. Alistair's Intoxication cannot affect anything that has resist poison. So it falls off much more rapidly later in the game when more and more things resist poison, and it's not going to be useful in the snake pits at all. It will be useful in the shoals, though most things in the shoals can swim in deep water, but there may be some things like Cyclopes, Cyclopes, I don't know. When a Cyclops can be confused and stumble into deep water and die, I think you still get like full experience with that. It's kind of nice. Anyway, that's why we're training poison. Aside from just spider form, because we have access to those spells, and because we are straight up immune to poison, neither of them has the detrimental effect that it otherwise would, making more powerful comparatively. Do we want any of these wands? We have a Wand of Draining already. We have 6 charges left on Wand of Disintegration. That's fine. Do I want this Wand of Frost? I know it only has 2 charges left, and that sucks. But I'm going to take it with us anyway, because that's a weird little panic button that we can keep in our back pocket, or front pocket, as it were. It's a weird little interaction with reptilian creatures, is that cold attacks slow them, or have a chance to slow them. And so, even just a super weak wand, maybe we're fighting a Naga Guardian or something, and we need to run away, and we can't cast Spider Form, and etc., 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 we can always throw a bolt of frost at it. Or not a bolt, a little puff of frost, and hope that it slows it down, and we can just waltz out of there. So ideally, that's what happens. All right, we're also going to get rid of this Scroll of Vulnerability. We got rid of a Scroll of Enchant Weapon. We obviously can't enchant this artifact any further. Artifacts are not changeable by any means, and it even says so on the artifact. And that really does mean you can't change it with anything. The only way that you can remove an artifact from the game by sacrificing it to a god. That is it. As long as it is present in the game, it will be. So we're gonna go ahead and just walk right into the snake pit. I'm not worried about the first area here. Though perhaps I should have been. We'll switch to wizardry. Sharpshooters are one of the newer enemies in the Abyss. I think new to this patch, 0.14. This trunk version, 0.14. Or maybe it was 0.13. But sharpshooters carry crossbows quite frequently, which is hurtful to us. The reason why I'm not aiming at this water moccasin is because it will block the bolts from, well, that guy for sure, maybe this guy as well. Yeah, I don't know if he has straight up line of sight on me. So we can just chuck a couple of fireballs at him. Like, this is basically the reason why we know this spell. Like, it has a huge hunger cost for us still. Like, you could see how we just ate through our food reserves. But, like, we got the guy down to half health for basically free. At this point, we'll go ahead and fight things. Ah, man. Sharpshooters hurt a lot. The new snake pit is really scary to me. I am going to be respecting everything in here. Also, I don't know if I've ever explained the term respect in the way that I'm using it. You've probably gathered by now that it just means be cautious around this thing. I also include in my use of it like a certain element of like excitement and fun. Like I enjoy challenges in this game. It's the reason why I play it. Every time I play, it's a huge challenge. This game is never easy. Like, we're having a great run right now. We're very strong. It's much easier than it would be. But this is still tough. Like, this is a level right here. We're on a level that could kill us. Everything in here is potentially dangerous. Look at that. Nicola. One of the most powerful uniques that you'll find prior to the vaults. As you know, Nicola is a brilliant scientist obsessed with electricity. In his attempts to perfect his electric golem, he was involved in a terrible accident and now phases in and out of reality. That's exactly what happened to the real-life Nikolai Tesla. Electric golems. Tell your kids, folks. Start the lies young. He can cast a bunch of really powerful spells at us. He can blink around. He wields a saber or a cutlass of electrocution. We resist electricity, which is the only reason why I'm not waving goodbye to you right now. Question is how to go about fighting him. Alright, here's what I think we're going to do. I think that it's too risky for us to take 1, 2, 3, 4 steps to break line of sight. Because he'll still have line of sight with us here if he goes 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you can see there from here. That's reciprocal. Pretty sure. Even if not, that's still 1, 2, 3 steps. And that means 3 lightning bolts or 3 chain lightnings. That's a lot. So I think if we go 1, 2, that breaks line of sight. The only reason why I'm hesitant to do this route, even though it has fewer steps, is because we haven't explored this business here. Oh, shoot. That's what happens if you're moving around with the map key and you press the center button of the 10 key. The 5 key. That, and then followed by another button because you were rapidly scrolling around the map. That was just a big blunder that made this fight a lot harder than it was 5 seconds ago. The sad thing is this potion of resistance that we have won't even help us. Because resist electricity is a binary. And we already have it. Now it's 3 steps to break line of sight. 1, 2, 3. Or a ton. I think I still want to do it. Even though we will now have two turns of free Nicola hits. Oh, cool. He blinked. Alright. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to stand here. You see how we could still see out to there? In fact, we're going to check from here. We could see all the way out to here from this. Like, being on the corner of a wall doesn't really block your line of sight. Like, we've got a wedge here. Like, if this wall weren't in the way, we could see a lot around here, you know, etc. So he's somewhere in this room, this area, because blink is line of sight. And I don't think he has controlled blink. Yeah. that, ladies and gentlemen, is what an extremely dangerous rated monster looks like. It's a big, red, evil smiley face. And that's what Nicola is. Extremely dangerous. The reason why I'm even considering fighting him here is because our branch entrance is right here. Any time that we enter the snake pit, we will risk having Nikolai sitting around here throwing lightning bolts at us from step 1. Every single time we enter. So, while we can leave and go get stronger somewhere else and come back, I don't think we're ever going to have a better situation to fight him than right now. Like, we've got him at a point where he's approaching like this, unless he blinks over here somewhere from, like, this space or this space. We will have him within 1 step of melee range, which is where we want him. If we can get right up next to him, he may even stop casting spells and start trying to attack us in melee, which is to our great benefit. We have high defensive stats. And we are obviously much stronger in terms of damage dealing Okay, see, now we're going to step forward one, because we know he's here. We know he's going to be moving here. We're going to step to there, so that he's... Oh, well, he blinked, but he's still next to us. All right, so we have a shot at this. Especially if he keeps blinking around. Okay, what you can see there with the messages down at the bottom, he cast Chain Lightning. That's dangerous for us and him. More so for us, probably. It just bounces back and forth between targets until it expires. Ooh, and it's really loud. See, now he's alerted at least 3 Nagas and a snake to where we are. That was a hit for 23. And that was 3 hits, 2 resisted. So 3 hits, 3 resisted could, or 3 hits, none resisted could one-shot us. At the very least, he could take us down to single digits of hit points with an unknown number of, or an unknown strength of a force coming towards us. Because those, I mean, they may not be regular Nagas. I would still be concerned about 3 regular Nagas if they're anything but, if they're Magi or Sharpshooters, or heaven forbid, like Guardians. That could be really dangerous. I feel like we can kill him here. And I really want to, because I just feel like it's going to be safer than trying to engage him later when he's a completely unknown quantity. I'm going to try to hit him one more time. He didn't even get the chance to cast a spell. That's awesome. Oh, yeah, because we're at minimum delay with this Great Mace. You can see how next to our time stamp up there, below our health, below our strength, int, and dex, and place, it says 0.7 in those brackets. That means it took us 7/10 of a turn to hit him with this mace, which is, yeah, the minimum delay. That's awesome. I forgot that we were at that. So this means that we really do have a chance to kill him, because we will strike him before he has a chance to cast spells, and if we hit him at all, if he does not evade our strike, he dies. Pretty sure. Ah, he blinked. Now we might be screwed. Because we certainly cannot close with him anymore. And we don't possess anything that can reliably... What is our evocation skill? 11? What is the power of our fireball? 4. I think disintegration counts as a hostile enchantment. So I think he's extremely resistant to that. He's resistant to lightning. Alright, so what I'm considering at this point, the first thing I'm considering is throwing a fireball at him and trying to knock off those last few hit points. I don't feel super confident about that, especially given our string of miscasts just a moment ago against those sharpshooters. Even though it says it's at 6%, Crawl is cruel. The other thing I'm considering is drinking this potion of haste and trying to make a beeline for the exit. Just discretion is the better part of valor. The thing I see wrong with that now is I don't know where those shouts came from. I don't see any monsters in our little Ashenzari detection over here. So they could be right over here, and they're approaching from this direction. So if I try and make a beeline for this exit, I could just die to them. And there's no guarantee, because I'd have to take one step there, one step there. That might break line of sight if he hasn't moved to there. So I'll take one step here. He will either stay there and shoot at us, or he'll take a step towards us. Or he'll blink over here. So second step would take us out of line of sight, actually, I feel like. There's a decent chance. And since taking a step takes a turn, drinking a potion takes a turn, um, it might even be better just to take 2 steps and then worry about whether or not we're going to use haste. I think that's our best bet. Because from there, even if I can't see him, I can like lob fireballs around the corner and hope they hit him. As opposed to doing it here where we are at a definite disadvantage. Um, a definite disadvantage when it comes to spellcasting combat. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take 1 step. Alright, he moved towards us. That's good. Better than lightning. We're going to take another step. Okay, he did step there. That's not as good. I think that means he maintains line of sight on us. Oh, he blinked. He blinked. He didn't take a step. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know that that makes a huge difference in this case, but worth noting, I suppose. Let's try taking another step. Okay, now we can for sure break line of sight by moving down and to our left. Awesome. Okay, now we have a whole different set of options. Man, this video's gotten long. I hope that this is suspenseful enough to keep you enthralled. And since it could be our last video, maybe it's for the best. He can see invisible. We could drink a potion of heal wounds or a potion of curing to just hedge our bets. We could drink a potion of brilliance to power up our fireball and try and use that. Although since he'll be coming through here probably, we would have to like shoot it here and hope that the blast hits him, which isn't as powerful, I don't think. We can drink this potion of haste, which I'm considering. Even though we haven't found many haste effects yet, and haste is really powerful, I think this could be a situation that warrants it. And just bank on finding another source of haste later, especially since we're putting points into intelligence, so we may be able to cast the actual spell haste. Yeah, let's do that. Hasting yourself contaminates you. If you rehaste yourself, the contamination increases, and that can later cause mutations if you get up to a yellow or red level. Okay, now, I think... Let me see. Yeah, we have 6 more potions of curing in our stash. I think I want to drink one of those. The reason why I didn't just search for curing is because I have my R key bound to something other than R, and I've not rebound the R button. Okay, good. See, we can see here there's another monster approaching. It's a dangerous monster, which isn't good for us. Let's go ahead and do another one of these. Because we can't be poisoned, and it's rare that we will be confused. In fact, we cannot be confused while wearing this Amulet of Clarity. I'm a little more cavalier with these potions of curing as just miniature potions of heal wounds, especially since we have a lot of them. We just don't need them for what you generally need them for, which is confusion and poison. We will never be poisoned, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay, we're up to 65 hit points. I feel much better about that, especially since I think I'm going to go ahead and take a step towards him. I don't really want to wait for him to come around the corner. I want to have the knowledge of what that other monster is. Black Mamba. Okay, that's not awesome. Nikolai drank a potion and is healed. That is also not awesome. But I think we could still one-shot him. So I think it's worth fighting. The reason why I'm kind of glad that that Black Mamba is there is because when he casts Chain Lightning, it may arc to us, and then back to him, and then to the Black Mamba, and then back to him, instead of between the two of us a whole bunch of times. And that would be great, because, I mean, if he takes 2 hits, we take 1, I'm okay with that. That's a net gain for us. We have more health than he does right now. The Black Mamba in and of itself is dangerous, because it can strike us very rapidly, but... Okay. We miss him. Oh, but we're hasted. See, we're only taking 4/10 of a turn, 2/5 of a turn to attack him. Yeah, I think... Oh, and he just tried to hit us. Awesome. Cool. He might be out of mana, or he might just be hitting us because we're next to him. I really feel like the fact that we hit him and froze him and headbutted him and he didn't die is a little bit unlucky for us. And I actually say unlucky there because the RNG had to have been very low for us to hit with our mace and the brand and our headbutt and do damage with all of them, because it doesn't say it didn't do any damage, and have that damage not be enough to kill him when he's at that. There we go. Bam. Alright, now we have to deal with this Black Mamba. Which should be fine. We should be okay. Here, here's where I'm going to use this Wand of Frost. Just trying to think of how to spend that turn while he was closing with us. Okay, it didn't slow him, but I mean, it did a tiny amount of damage to him. Oh, crap. Man. Oh, and there's another super dangerous monster. I didn't even notice things coming from that direction. That's... Oh, we are so in trouble. Agnes is really powerful. She's just really, really, really fast and hits you a lot of times with a powerful Logitang. A vampiric Logitang. So every time she hits us, she's going to be healing herself for a portion of the damage dealt. Man. This is just... and she's between us and our exit. We can't even get out of here. Not even if we, like, switch to spider form and combine that with haste to make a dash for the entrance. We don't know what this monster is. We'll know in 2 steps. This might be a time to try out the scrying. I think it is. Huh. I don't know what that did. Oh, okay. That didn't do what I thought it would, which... I thought it would let us pick an area nearby and let us look at it through walls. All it did was make walls not affect our line of sight. That's cool. I wish we had something that used smite targeting. I don't know if we could... if it would let us do that, but that's neat. Well... Huh, we can even see the insides of the structures. That's not something I'm used to. That's really cool. Wow, yeah, +3/+3 Cutlass of Electrocution. I'm going to pick that up, actually. I don't know if Agnes has any skill with short blades, but I feel like we would be worse off with a tiny thing hitting us lots of times with that Cutlass than we do with this staff. Okay, so we've got her in a choke point. Even if that other monster comes up through here, we should be fine. Man, easily resist the Kaboomy. Let's try it again. Easily resist again. Alright, well, let's hope our haste is enough. She's got a ton of evasion. Man, just every time she hits us, she's healing. And she's hitting us a lot, and it's doing damage. All of these things are bad. She can see invisible, can't she? Yeah. I think Spriggans can all see invisible, actually. She is a Spriggan. Oh. Berserk Rage is an option. It's not my favorite, because... First of all, we're already hasted, and I don't know that they stack. The speed benefits, at least. The damage would be certainly nice if we managed to hit her, but that's not really our problem. It's accuracy currently. The extra hit points would be nice, though. I'm just worried about whatever monster was down here that looked dangerous or very dangerous. For when the Berserk runs out and we're slowed. This would all be much easier if I had a scroll of blinking. I feel like... Oop. Yeah, we've maybe had one scroll of blinking this whole run. And I think we test read it. going to go for it, just because this video is super long now, and I kind of want to stop it one way or the other. So we're going to give this a shot. Huh. Easy. Alright, we're just going to berserkly run towards the entrance, and see, now we're... oh, we're hasted and slowed. That's a weird circumstance. It's not the same as being normal speed. Even though you move at normal speed, there are weird interactions. Okay, we're just going to stop the video here. I may do some stash stuff, but hopefully that was exciting, these two circumstances where we nearly died and we had to use some panic buttons. But thanks for watching. I'll be back soon with another video, and hopefully we'll get to see a little more of the snake pit than we did that time.